In this video, I'm going to demonstrate pinning a carved snake together. I decided to make it out of two pieces and pin it for support. It's going to be a snake, which I'm going to add to this barred owl sculpture. So let me show you the whole thing and how it's going to go together. And I'm going to just basically try to fit this piece together because right now it doesn't fit the right angle. Okay, it's going to go at the base of this barred owl sculpture. And I've been recently seeing lots of snakes lately. It's summertime in Georgia, and I hear barred owls all the time. They sing, "Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you all?" At night. And I thought, you know, they go together because I have a creek that goes through, well, not my yard, but neighbors. And it's a great corridor for wildlife, so there's lots of owls, coyotes, and tons of snakes that go there. And they kind of go together. So it tells a story. And let me back up and show you the whole piece because this is carved from one piece of Tupelo gum. And yes, I'm filming in my foyer here so you can see the door. So I'll try to block that out. And so this snake is going to go at the base of the stump. I'll turn around the sculpture and show you some close-ups at the end and just show you how I can pin this together using recyclable materials and how I fit it together because right now it's not going to fit at the right angle at the base. So here's the piece. And I added this branch. If you watch a previous video, I added this branch. It's metal. The leaves are cut out of metal as well as the Spanish moss. And I think it adds a lot of mood and drama to the piece. And I made my own moss and lichen. Let me turn the piece around for you a little bit more. So I'm basically trying to tell a story with this piece as well as work on the composition. The composition is the arrangement of the elements and principles of design, which I taught for 7 years at Kennesaw State University, and I've been studying my entire life. And so to me, the art is all about the story, the craftsmanship, and the, what else? The mood, the composition. That's what I'm trying to explain. And so the line and negative and positive space around the piece, how it flows around the piece, is going to be accentuated by the snake. Okay, so I'm going to have it turning around the stump on this side. But I've got to piece it together a little bit more so it looks natural. And I've got to work on the angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some knives and a rasp. But first I mark with the pencil. Kind of the correct angle I want. I have to remove some of this way with the new knife I got from Forged Steel Tools from Ukraine. Boy, this carves like butter. Probably my favorite knife right now. But I also have a new flex cut knife that I love as well. I will work on this a little bit more. Sometimes it's good to use a rasp. But I always try to draw a lot. Okay. Now, once I have a pretty good angle, I'm going to draw with a pencil. Approximately how those two pieces go together. Now I'm going to make a pen. And I'm just going to use a old clothes piece here. Let's see. Cut this end off. I like to roughen it up a little bit because I will use epoxy to glue it together. This is a diamond riffler. You could use sandpaper, just something to rough it up a little bit. That way the epoxy has something more to stick to rather than a slick surface. Glues don't like to stick to slick surfaces, especially metal. Okay, so there's my pen. I'm going to use these wire cutters to cut the piece. I can still make lots of pens from this, so I don't throw anything away. In fact, my Tupelo wood, which I got, I have lots of big pieces like this. This is from a big log, again, all carved from one piece of wood. And I traded a wood duck decoy for 2 truckloads of Tupelo gum. And that was about 30 years ago, and that wood still lasted me today. So, and that wood actually was from a property in Georgia, in South Georgia, and the hurricane came by and it was a bunch of downed trees. So that wood was throwaway wood, and I try to reuse things rather than take a life, but restore things. Okay, so I'm going to drill into this piece. Following that angle I just drew. And actually I'm going to show you a trick, because it's hard to get the other angle right. Now I got a piece that's a little bit, this is not quite straight, so I'm going to cut another one here. Now notice I cut this one smaller than this pen, just a little bit. Where is it? Yeah, this pen. That way I can stick it in. Actually, I want to cut even smaller. So what I'm doing now is now I can press, since I cut it just the length of how much I drilled in, just a little bit going out, and then I can press this piece up to it. Try to get the angle again. Okay, this works with a pretty soft wood. There you go. I got my line now. And now that I have my line, gotta take this one back out. I can put the other pen in there, which I roughened up, which was a little bit longer. See, now that's going to go into the other piece. So this is how to pin a sculpture together. This is how I mount a lot of my work. Okay, I found that mark. Bingo. I got some gaps in there still, so I could fill that, but I'll probably go back and make it a tighter fit before I glue it together, because epoxy likes tight areas. Just like I drilled about the same size, a little bit larger. I floated a little bit than the clothesline, clothes hanger. So there we go. So I wanted the snake kind of looking up, and to tell a story, I probably will add like maybe something the snake is after, okay? Thereby showing, you know, insect or something, frog. I'm gonna hide something, maybe do something more with this, this base. So it's gonna tell more of a story, keep up the good craftsmanship. I think the composition is gonna help more by lending the eye to follow it down here around to the back of the piece. Let me show you that. Made a bit of a mess here. There we go. And again, I want this pinned up a little bit more. And I've got to now recarve this angle. See, I left the other piece a little bit bigger than this one because of this connection. It's always best to do things in one piece if you can. But when you're going with a snake, there's a lot of grain, and I want it curvilinear, and it's I have the grain going with most of the strength of the wood. But if I did that, then the tail would be very, very fragile. And I got to make this smaller, and I mean thinner. But they would be susceptible to breaking. So now I have the grain going this way. The tail is very strong. It's not as strong here, okay, but I have a pin that's pinning this in, and that's going to make it stronger. So I always think out how I'm going to, the direction of the grain following my subject matter for the max amount of support. That's because I've been doing this for over 45 years, and I want my works to last for collectors. I don't want them to break. I've repaired lots of other wood carvers' work over the years, and people I don't even know come up and you know, they show work that needs repaired, and it's not my work, and I give them advice. I tell them it's always best for the wood carver or sculptor to repair their own work. I'm gonna carve a little bit more here as I'm talking. So, because they know how, you know, they're trying to match, it's difficult to match the style of someone else. And again, I try to make my work so it doesn't break. And that's what I'm demonstrating, how to pin it together. One piece works are great and all, but they are more susceptible to breaking. Not this piece though, because the grain's going one way, and it's, I think I did laminate just a little bit of wood to the base. I can see kind of a separation there, and that's because it was laminated. It could have been a crack in the wood, but I'm pretty sure that was a laminated piece. The wood, the base wasn't quite that big, and I wanted to have it more dimension coming out from the base of the owl. Okay, I'll show you how it all goes together here. Now, I'm more of a bird guy, but I've carved snakes before, and fish, and other wildlife, mammals. This is all carved texture. I'll show details of it. I'll go back and wood burn finer details on it. I'll burn for value contrast and seal it before I paint it. Okay, let's see how that looks. It's not exactly the angle I want, but pretty close. I'm gonna have to kind of pin it to prop it up here. Maybe my pliers will work better. Something harder. It doesn't quite go at the right angle I want, but let me show you some close-ups of it here. I want it looking up a little bit more. Okay, and there's where I pin it. There's the line I drew there. There's some details of the snake. I actually carved all those scales in, and then I'll go back and burn it. People have different techniques though. Here's techniques of how I recreated bark. It's all carved texture, feathers, wood burned. Eyes are glass. And there's the branch and metalwork. I did pen pieces of wood together for the branch, but nothing is as it is from nature. Okay, I made my own lichen, I made the Spanish moss, the leaves. There's different kinds of moss there. And it has an oak base that is I ebonized by dyeing it with black pigment and sanded that back. I think it has some tung oil on it too. Kind of warms it up and gives contrast and grounds the whole piece. So stay tuned to see the whole piece. I'm not sure exactly what kind of snake I'm making, but color-wise, I'll probably look at something that complements the bird. And yeah, so you can watch previous videos of how I improved it, adding leaves. I believe I have those there, but stay tuned to see this improvement and more future work. Thanks a lot for subscribing to Wilson Live Sculpture. Have a great day.